We continue with you here on Game Time. There is a new head man here in the ATL running the Hawks. Coach LLoyd Pierce comes in, a lot of experience and a lot of opportunity to help build with a team that certainly might have work to do, but has already some young talent and some coming with the draft and the lottery. Hello, just within hours of welcoming Coach Pierce. So first of all, congratulations. Give us the first thing that came to mind when you thought about why you were the right fit for this gig, LLoyd.
I think the timing of it was perfect. You know, spending 5 years in Philadelphia and going through a little bit of growing pains early on and seeing it through to an unbelievable year. You know, going third in the East this year, making it to the second round, and a lot of it with guys that have been part of the process, as we call it, for the majority of that time. And so when this opportunity presented itself for myself and at this time in my career, you know, it made sense. Atlanta's a great city. It's an organization with some young players and a lot of guys in the draft coming up. It's an opportunity for me to start fresh and see if I can duplicate a couple things that we did in Philadelphia, but also create our own identity here in Atlanta.
I'm just curious, how much did that prepare you for the attitude and the culture you know you need to set, considering you're going to have players that are going to experience some growing pains together?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we did in Philadelphia off the court paid dividends, and you know, there's a whole lot of things behind the scenes that don't get talked about as often as they should, but trying to keep spirit, a level of energy, a competitiveness on a team with a lot of young guys learning how to play and make it in the NBA early in their careers. It was tough, but that was the beauty of coaching for us in those years.
LLoyd, I'm glad you talked about behind the scenes. So most people talk about the process on the floor, and you've been through it with the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, in your walk of life with all the assistant coaches and just being around the game, played the game. First thing for yourself, what do you want to do in Atlanta? It doesn't even have to be on the basketball court. What do you want to establish?
You know, for me, it's really just getting to know the city. I've been through, this will be my 5th team in the NBA. Spent some time in Memphis. As you guys know, that whole grit and grind mentality, it represented Memphis. Trust the process. We had a couple sayings with Philly hard, Philly real, Philly edge. That represented Philadelphia, and that was important for us. We wanted to have a product on the court that mirrored what the city was looking for. And so for me, I just need to get to know what Atlanta is about, what they're looking for. As we understand that and we start to develop and bring in a lot of young talent, we want to see if we can mirror what the fans here are looking for.
And LLoyd, you've been around for a long time. I've been seeing you in that assistant coaching spot for a while. You've been grinding, putting in your time. You've had a chance to learn from some great coaches. What is something that you've learned from some of your predecessors that you want to bring here to Atlanta?
Yeah, you know, I've worked with 4 different head coaches, and I say different because that's exactly what they are. Brett Brown, as any of you guys that know, has an unbelievable spirit. He's upbeat, he's intense, he's got a vision that's unparalleled. So that's kind of the main thing with him. And Lionel Hollins, I know he's been on this set a few times. He'll tell you how it is.
Yeah.
And I respect that about Train. Unbelievable coach, unbelievable father figure. You know, we used to spend a lot of time off the court, and he's just sharing stories. The man's got a lot of wisdom, playing in the league, coaching in the league for a long period of time. But just hearing him speak about the game and his respect for the game and the predecessors and the coaches he's played for. And then I had Keith Smart and Mike Brown, 2 guys I worked with, Golden State and in Cleveland. And Keith, you know, his character, his energy, his ability to relate to the players and communicate with the players. He's got a positive outlook on life about everything that he does. Mike Brown, when we were in Cleveland together, you know, we were a championship contending team. So everything was attention to detail. How can we continue our success in Cleveland and keep that championship pedigree?
You spent a lot of time this year with a couple of guys who have dealt with high expectations of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. We've got expectations as fingers and toes in this city are crossed with the lottery coming up. Regardless of where you end up, you're going to end up getting one of, if not the top pick. What did you learn about what it takes, what the most important thing is to be able to handle a player who's going through that? Because that's not an easy thing, despite what we might not see on the court.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's so many things that go into it, whether or not you get the top pick or whether you get someone late in the draft. You see in Donovan Mitchell, who's had an unbelievable year, that falls through the cracks a little bit. The biggest thing is whoever you get, they're going to have to go through an adjustment period of what their role is. You know, if you're a younger team and sometimes your role is accelerated right from the jump, how do you handle that success? How do you handle that responsibility? How do you deal with adversity when things aren't going your way? But it's really trying to educate young players on how to be professionals.
I think, Lloyd, when you start to look at this Atlanta Hawks team, I'm not talking about now, but when you get them to where they're your team, your players, where the guys have been here before, what's the style and what's going to be a LLoyd Pierce Atlanta Hawks team? What's going to be the staple for you?
I think the biggest thing is we're going to work. It's definitely going to be a working team. I controlled our defense in Philadelphia the last couple of years. Coach Brown empowered me to really kind of grab the reins on what we were doing defensively. That's who I am. That's my DNA. That's where it starts. I can control what our effort is. Whether or not we make 25 threes, whether or not we shoot 45 threes, as everyone talks about with the analytics, we'll emphasize some of that. We'll try and find high-efficient basketball, but biggest thing is we got to compete. We got to have guys that want to compete. We got to have guys with high character. We have to have guys that really embrace the competitive nature of the game.
Well, I want to say this, Casey. In Atlanta, since I've lived here, avoid 285.
I've heard that one.
85, 75,
everywhere,
and I-20.
Should I walk? Should I walk?
Yeah.
Well, you just got to find different ways.
Oh, okay.
all those highways, just avoid those.
So should I live next to the arena?
Yeah, you might want to. You might want to.
Take what always feels. Take
Appreciate that.
a peach tree, one of the peach trees. Congratulations again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.